This is a Rooster Teeth production.
There exists a cultural phenomenon in which people collectively share and recall a false memory. There are those who remain insistent that the memory is true, despite evidence to the contrary, giving birth to theories ranging from cognitive and social reinforcement to alternate realities colliding. Today, we discuss the anomaly that is known as the Mandela effect. This is Red Web.
Hey everyone, Christian the producer here. Just want to say before we get into the episode, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Without a healthy mind, being happy is hard. Visit betterhelp.com/redweb and see if online therapy's for you. I hope you enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? It's Red Web time. We have another mystery. This one we've been excited to cover for quite some time now. I'm Trevor Collins, your local resident mystery enthusiast, with me as always, with his gut check, coming in blind to react to the mystery at hand, Alfredo Diaz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have no idea what we're getting into today. I have heard of the Mandela effect. I have no idea what it is.
You don't have any idea what it is?
No.
Excellent.
No. It's been, I don't know. I don't know where I've heard it. Maybe
Nelson
movies.
Mandela, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that tied to the Mandela effect?
Absolutely it is.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not. I'm smiling really big right now.
Task Force. Has a huge smile on his face. I don't know why.
No, that's exactly where it comes from. We'll dive into the etymology for you, Fredo, on what the Mandela effect is, and then this is one of my favorite kind of extra worldly things. Like some of the theories really extend beyond this reality, and attempt to explain what's kind of going on with this phenomenon. And it's very interesting. There are a lot of stories within it. So this is mostly going to be exploring the examples of the Mandela effect in our world. And then the theories, again, are attempting to explain that. It's definitely another step in a different direction for this show. But man,
I like that.
Is this exciting.
I like stepping off the path.
Yeah, we're trailblazers for ourselves.
Is it the beaten path?
Yeah. Where nothing grows because of all the foot traffic. I like to stray where all the poison ivy is. That way people can't follow me because I don't get poison ivy.
That way your skin tingles.
The skin tingles. I actually don't get poison ivy.
Really?
I'm immune.
I don't know if I do or not.
Should we try it? Go strolling through the fields of poison ivy?
I'll take a leaf and rub it like...
You're going to hate.
A little bit. Like one splash on the arm.
Oh, you're going to hate.
Is that bad? Is it going to be that terrible? I mean... It's just going to be a one spot, isn't it?
Most people react pretty poorly and it can transfer.
Ooh,
so if you're in the shower and you got, let's just say it's on your head for some reason and you shower and it can trickle its way down your body. It's not good. It's not good.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Yeah.
Little side story here. I once had icy hot on my chest. Took a shower. It transferred.
Everywhere. You don't want it.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
You're just looking at me going, everywhere.
Let me tell you, it don't wash off easily.
Whoa.
So, boy, was I on the ground for a long time.
I bet you that has it's an oil base, some sort of petroleum.
Yep.
I would have grabbed Dawn soap and I would have scrubbed myself
in the
silly.
shower.
And before we get started, I actually want to, I know we're in the throes of October now, and next week is our Halloween episode. Fredo, we've cooked up a very special episode this time. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it for the audience, nor do I want to spoil it for you, but we are going on site for this one. There's going to be a whole visual. We're going to film this particular episode. It's a destination episode. It's revolving around ghosts, revolving around Halloweens, and it's a lot of spooky treats in play.
Not like a Chuck E. Cheese?
No. Well, after dark, maybe. Like a Chuck E. Cheese after dark.
That's honestly maybe equally terrifying.
Yeah. So if you want to check that one out, I'm really excited about how that one's going to go. Tune in next week. And also, if you want to see the visual for that, we have that youtube.com/redwebpod. It's going to be a one-off episode. We're not always going to have visuals. It's an audio podcast. But all right, well, without further ado, I know we got a lot to talk about within this one. And so it's going to be much more conversational than our normal narrative-driven. But let's talk about the Mandela effect, where it comes from, because it actually has a very recent history and where it stems from, more recent than I would have expected. But loosely speaking, the Mandela effect is when a group of individuals share a memory or a belief that doesn't necessarily match up with recorded history. The Mandela effect also has a bit of a flexible definition. It can also be considered when you have a false memory that's shared by a large group of people that is kind of invented. So there's times where your memory doesn't line up with history, and then there's times where your memory doesn't line up with anything at all. It's almost like you're remembering something that just never happened.
So what does that even mean, that like you remember something that doesn't line up with history? Is it like a Planet of the Apes type thing, or just like the world was ruled by apes 5 years ago, and someone goes, no, it wasn't? That's
a good example. It's very tenacious. Like that's a very in-depth example. A lot of these are a lot more light touch. We're going to go into so many different examples of the Mandela effect, so you can kind of get hands-on with it. But
and then another, I guess, just to keep piggybacking off that thought, like. So then at that point, someone else goes, oh, yeah, I remember that. That happened.
That's usually how it goes. Somebody else comes out and says, yeah, no, I remember that too, but it didn't happen. And I mean, that kind of leads us very organically into the namesake of the Mandela effect, which is Nelson Mandela himself. Now, this started from a blog post by paranormal investigator Fiona Broom back in 2010. They wrote that during a discussion at DragonCon, a group of people, including Broom themselves, realized that many of them thought that Nelson Mandela had passed away in prison in the 1980s. So Mandela, just a very, very light touch, quick history lesson here. They were an anti-apartheid leader who was released from prison in 1990 and served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. They actually passed away in 2013, so there was a few years there where people thought that Nelson Mandela had passed away in the 80s, but the man was still actually alive. I actually remember this point in time where people would say, well, didn't he pass away in prison? And then other people would be like, well, he's alive right now. The man is available to be asked.
Isn't it at that point just like one of those things where it's a casual false narrative, and then
could be,
and it's like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it very simply could be that, but the fact that so many people had such conviction in their beliefs, I mean, it goes even further. There were some posters online and forums that were talking about, including Broom, right, that were recalling media attention around Mandela's death or supposed death. And even a lot of people came forward saying they recalled speeches from Mandela's wife talking about it, other important figures talking on television about Mandela's passing away. And so a lot of people came forward with these very concrete memories and were sharing details that other people were like, yep, that's how I remember it. Like just a lot of people online kind of collectively coming together. And that's where this phenomenon really got its namesake, and then really kind of started to spiral out into other things.
I feel like what makes that different from me going, oh, I don't remember ordering this from Amazon, and then just, then checking my stuff and going, oh yeah, no, I did order it. Like, I don't know. It just seems like for this case, they thought that he passed away in prison, and then they just kept going down that train of thought. Not necessarily like they feel like
what should have happened was somebody said, hey, you're wrong. And they should have been like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But I think what really happened was their conviction. The fact that they were like, no, I for sure felt this way. I for sure have these memories where my memory of the thing is the opposite of what you're saying. And when other strangers come out online and kind of swell behind this belief, suddenly you're like, well, if they believe it, then, you start to get groupthink going. And now you have a bunch of people going like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah,
like we all believe this, but clearly that's not what happened.
Did we really order that package from Amazon?
Did we really order it? Or was that, receipt just placed there?
Interesting. Who's placing the receipts? I mean, okay, I'm starting to get behind like the weirdness of it.
Believe me, when we get to the theories,
like hundreds of people that are just like, no, this did happen.
Right. Yeah, believe me, when we get to the theories, it's going to get real fun, real exciting. And I think also, even in just a second here, we're going to talk about a bunch of different examples of where this applies to media, brands, and history and the world itself. There's a lot of examples, not just this one, that I think will help build a more concrete case. I'll ask you some questions to see if you have fallen victim to the Mandela effect on some fronts. It's very hands-on, this one. Yeah. But coming back to Nelson Mandela, and trying to address maybe what actually happened here, because clearly we have history in place. It's set in stone. You can look at it and say, well, no, didn't pass away.
Right.
Was the first president of South Africa for, So maybe
amount of
people are
years.
misremembering it, right? Because he did have pretty public health concerns in the 80s while in prison. Maybe people are misremembering it. Maybe there were misleading headlines at the time that made people believe the wrong thing. Maybe false reports came out. Maybe his wife did speak on the sake of his health issues, but not necessarily on his passing away. So anyway, we can cut this apart as much as we want, but I think we'll really explore the different paths in the theories section.
Okay.
But coming back to that original blog post that really sparked this whole thing, there were many other examples that started to fall out regarding the Mandela effect. A lot of other celebrities came up that people thought had passed away who actually didn't. That seemed to be a common thread. But
Wild.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, this concept went viral. Countless users on sites such as Reddit shared stories and experiences around this effect. And I'm sure, I don't want to bury the lead any further. Eventually, we end up with all the examples that we have today that I'm sure at least one of these examples will stand out to you and the members of the task force at home.
Okay.
So let's dive into some of those examples. Example number one, we're going to start with media, I think is where we should start, because that is where pop culture lies, and pop culture kind of cycles back in on itself as it's self-referential. And these just tend to be the more popular ones. So the first one is the Berenstain Bears. Do you remember that property?
Who are they?
Okay, the Berenstain Bears is a children's book series.
That's yeah.
Yeah. You can see, I have some pictures here for you. Just some of the tops.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
okay.
one of the bears has that like swoop in the hair, and the other one had the blue cap. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like a children's book series. I don't know how global this brand was.
Like
so
they had these books like during the Scholastic book fairs.
absolutely.
Yeah.
is where
Okay.
you
Cool.
found those.
Yeah.
So yeah, children's book series that had a handful of spin-off cartoons featuring the family of anthropomorphic bears.
Don't you dare tell me it doesn't exist.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you it doesn't exist, but when you think of the name and you remember back on this, how would you pronounce the name?
It was the Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears?
Berenstain Bears?
Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, I see where you're going. I see where you're trying to manipulate. The thing is, like, you're waffling on the bear part. I think that's the pun that's built in. That's fine. It's the Steen part. I always thought of it as Berenstain. That's how I always pronounced it.
Berenstain?
Yeah. And so,
I just pronounced it Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain? I mean, yeah, as a kid,
Yeah.
Berenstain
Bears.
Right.
That's how I
They're
sounded when I
bears,
was
right?
little. Yeah.
But here's the hang up, is that it's actually the Berenstain Bears. So it's a very subtle difference, and it's a very popular example of the Mandela effect, where it's actually spelled at the end Stain rather than a probably more common Stein.
Yeah. Berenstain Bears?
Where you either say Berenstain or Berenstein.
Yeah.
It's actually Berenstain. And so I don't know if that's us as kids sharing this name around in the wrong way, and then
that's what I feel like it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like collectively we were just a bunch of idiot kids running around, and then one idiot kid spoke up and like, Berenstain Bears, and we're just like, Berenstain Bears.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. And then we all grew up and we looked at the books again and with the ability to read now, and
Right.
we went, what? It's Stain?
I'm not gonna lie, I just found that out right now.
It's weird. It
It's
feels weird on my
Stain.
mouth. I don't like saying it that way.
Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
If I'm
Jesus
really getting
Christ.
phonetical with it.
I don't even think I know
I always
this
said
damn book
Bairn.
anymore.
I said Bairn.
Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, here it is. Take a look. Berenstain.
It is Berenstain. Oh, that's not
Anyway,
Berenstain
innocuous, not super,
Yeah.
None of these are going to be super scary,
But that's
super
just-
spooky, but it's unsettling if you really
Yeah.
start to think about it, like to know that your memories aren't sacred. Because at the end of the day, what's really unsettling about this phenomenon to me is that if there's only one thing you can trust in life, it's yourself, and it's therefore your memories of the world. And if you can't even trust your memories of the world, it's a deeply unsettling feeling, right? And so we're going to continue going through examples, and we're going to continue to shake your reality. But it's interesting.
And the campfire bear too. You can trust him because only you can prevent forest fires.
Damn it, you! God, I was waiting for a '90s movie reference, and you went with like an '80s PSA bear. All right. So the next example is these are all relatively small and short. So, did you ever see the James Bond film Moonraker?
No.
It's got one of my favorite Bond scenes where Bond gets chucked out of a plane without a chute and he has to chase somebody down. And then he and Jaws, the character Jaws, who has giant metal teeth. He can like bite through cable and stuff. I know of
the movie. I've seen clips and
You've
still
probably
frames.
seen tons of stills. Yeah. It's got Roger Moore and everything. Well, there's a character in there that Jaws kind of has a love interest with. It's very subtle to my memory.
Okay.
But her name is Dolly. And the Mandela effect in play here is whether or not Dolly has braces. Now, it would stand to reason that with the, quote, nerdy kind of look that she had, that braces would fit that kind of trope of a character. But also, I always thought that was, when I think back, I'm like, he's got these shiny metal teeth, and he's
Don't
like...
tell me Justin has metal teeth.
No, he's got his metal teeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
but
real,
Dolly...
It's not real anymore.
I'm like, Dolly had braces, and I thought that's like, when she smiles, he smiles, and there's like some unspoken thing, like, we both got metal teeth. Like, there's something here.
Yep.
Here's a picture of her. No braces.
There's no braces.
No braces. These are like the most, I just want to say, like, preschool drama. Like, imagine a court case where you're like, boom! And I declare there's no braces.
No braces, Your
I'm going to
Honor.
blow this case wide open.
Check out these photos.
And then the judge is like, you've wasted everyone's time.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get out.
But yeah, it's very interesting.
Right. So there's a ton of people that remember this character with braces on.
Yes. And that when they see each other, they smile, and that she has these braces. Another popular one in pop culture is from Star Wars, and that's the quote that Darth Vader has with Luke. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I am your father?
Yeah. Do you remember the full quote?
No. I'm your father today.
Dude, when you said no, that is the first word. Okay. So a lot of people, as you probably know by this point, say, Luke, I am your father.
Right.
It's not how it is. Remember, it's misquathed so much in pop culture that it's kind of become self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's actually simply, no, I am your father, because he's responding to something that Luke said. Luke says something along the lines of, you killed my father. And he goes, no, I am your father.
Right. And I assume people changed it just because so that way it's easier for others to, understand the reference.
Right.
Luke.
You don't want to like quote a response.
Right.
Because then it's kind of a bit more non sequitur.
Damn, it really is. No, I am your father.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now here's one that I think now we're gonna get a little more hands-on. So if you want to get in the weeds with us, Task Force, I encourage you to go to our Twitter page where we post photos at RedWebPod as always, or check us out on YouTube with the same handle. But this one, I'm gonna give you two images. Try not to read around it. It's my notes, right? But tell me which one makes more sense to you as the logo for Fruit of the Loom.
Oh no, Fruit of the Loom.
We all know it. We all love
Man
it.
hit me with the Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah.
I remember it being the left one.
This is your new streetwear. It's coming. Fiona Nova of G4 fame was predicted this like 2 years ago that Fruit of the Loom is going to be the next streetwear. I'm just putting this out there so it's somewhere recorded. I would love to see, because like Champion, kind of went through the same like evolution. I would love to see some Fruit of the Loom streetwear.
I remember wearing some Fruit of the Loom.
Mm-hmm.
I think undies.
Yep, absolutely.
Tidy whities.
Absolutely, I bet you did.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. So do both of these logos kind of hit you as accurate? It's that uncanny, like, can't figure out which one feels right.
I can't figure out, but I'm leaning towards the left.
Really? Okay, so for the folks just listening orally, I do want to explain what's going on. So if you try to imagine the Fruit of the Loom logo, we know that there's apples, grapes, and all of that. It's some fruit in the logo.
Mm-hmm.
It's an underwear brand. They have t-shirts. They have other clothing. And large amounts of people will imagine the logo with the Fruit of the Loom logo with a cornucopia. Now, I wouldn't know what that is without my notes here. So it's that very autumn American Thanksgiving imagery heavy. It's like a wicker cone basket is what it looks like.
I was about to say, it's the basket you see behind the food.
Yeah, and you see that typically around American Thanksgivings, the food's pouring out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But and that makes sense. I see that and I go with that little cone-shaped basket behind it. I go, that makes sense.
That's Fruit of the Loom.
I feel like I've seen that.
That's the loom.
The logo is the one without it. And it's such a subtle difference that it's like, it's weird. It like tickles your brain in a strange way. But yeah, this here without the cornucopia
doesn't have
the
it.
logo.
I just don't remember things correctly.
I think
or I just never learn things properly.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just memory.
Half and half there.
Mm-hmm. But let's move forward. We got tons of examples to kind of freak your brain out.
This is a track down how I'm wrong lane.
Oh yeah. Blowing minds left and right here. Now this one kind of goes back to the original discussions regarding the Mandela effect, on those forum posts. Some people wrote that they remembered a peanut butter brand, Jif, right?
Yeah.
J-I-F, but they remembered it initially as Jiffy. This one I feel like is more easily...
Lube?
Yeah, that's why I feel like this one's more easily explained away, because on one hand you have the other peanut butter brand, Skippy, and then you also have other names out there like Jiffy Lube, a place you should never take your car, personal opinion.
Yeah.
But like, and so that kind of like, it falls over in your brain.
Instead of Jiff, you just go Jiffy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or like get that done in a jiffy, right? And so I think that with all these other floating around versions.
Is it Jif? And people
It's Jif. It's just Jif, and it never has been Jiffy. And this one I don't necessarily get myself, but apparently there's a lot of people out there that remember Jif as being Jiffy at one point in time, which it never was.
A lot of us are misremembering things.
Mm-hmm. We're only going to get stranger from here. These are all like, elementary.
So you got a monkey there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you want to jump to Curious George?
Well, we'll jump to little George.
All right. We'll play another game here. We got Curious George. Very simple. A and B. A with a tail. B without a tail.
Holy sh! Does he have a tail or not?
Exactly. Which one strikes you as Curious George?
I think without a tail. But
Mhm.
like he's a monkey.
But he's a monkey, right? And I think that is, for me, the origin of this misremembering, because everyone would think he's a monkey, he's got a tail, right?
Yeah.
The character does not have a tail. And I wonder if that just makes it easier for him to wear clothes. I don't know.
Yeah, because I just don't remember a tail peeking out or anything like that.
They didn't Goku it where the tail's wrapped around the waist.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, like he should have a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's like, he's got some weird origin like those gorillas in Congo.
That's a Michael Crichton reference. And what was that also a film in the 90s? It was a book for sure. Dang. You had this little smirk. I just want to let the smirk settle a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Curry was in it.
This one I've known about for quite some time, so like it's hard for me to kind of sympathize with the Mandela effect, the oddity of it now, because it's just washed over me so much. But I remember being like, yo, he should have a tail. He doesn't have a tail?
Yeah,
But that's just logic speaking.
Yeah, I just remember walking around
Mm-hmm.
like bare ass, no tail. Not that a tail really covers his ass.
It's folded up over
But
the
like
cheeks.
I don't remember him having a tail.
Mm-hmm. We'll punch through another short one or two here. Kit Kat. This was one I wasn't...
Oh no, I love Kit Kats.
Yeah, this was one I didn't know
Okay.
had a piece of Mandela effect to it. But
Alright.
if you were to spell Kit Kat, the way you see it, just picture the wrapper. Everyone at home, picture the wrapper in your minds.
Right.
Now, look at the logo on the wrapper, and with all details, spell it out for me.
Kitkat.
Just that, just simple. No dash in the middle. We got a dash in the middle or no dash. We got team dash, team no dash.
There is no dash.
I can tell you are flipping a mental coin, and you are accurate. There is no dash.
There is no dash.
But that's another one of those popular ones.
People
where a
are
lot
like,
of people
oh, there's a dash.
Yep. They recognize that there's a dash in there. And honestly, like, I can see that. I see that in my mind. It makes a lot of sense. It feels like a word that should have a dash, but it certainly doesn't.
Yeah, I don't remember having a dash. If it did, it blended into the background
Mm-hmm.
or the deliciousness.
Oh, yeah.
That
yeah.
is a Kit
The
Kat.
name falls away when you snap into
Once you snap it to
Kit Kat, you know?
Ooh,
Give me
baby.
a break. But anyway, okay, so we kind of blazed through a couple shorter ones. These are
Okay.
obviously very popular ones.
That
Berenstain
was
probably
fun.
being the most popular of it, but they're only going to get weirder
Okay.
and a little bit more almost personal from here, because at this point,
no.
at least for me, these are the ones that I kind of struggle to get over, even now, knowing about them. These are the ones that I feel like have the most legs,
gonna get
despite proof
harder.
otherwise, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, in one instance of the Mandela effect, it's less about misremembering something that many people claim to remember, but sometimes it's about remembering things that don't exist in the first place.
Mm.
In this case, many people online, and they have written about this so many times. It is a very popular one on the forums. Refer to a 90s film you would know called Shazam,
No idea.
starring the comedian Sinbad
Yeah.
as a genie.
Yes.
You telling me you know that film?
Yeah.
Tell me
yeah.
about
I
that
feel like don't tell me.
Tell me about that film.
No, it was Sinbad.
No, you got it. It's
It
fine.
was Sinbad as a genie.
Yep.
He had kind of a genie getup. I think
Mhm.
baggier pants, and he was running around with some white kid.
Yep, absolutely. You want to pull up the cover? You just search Shazam for me.
You're telling me that wasn't a movie, or was that like a music? Was that like a music video? They're frantically searching on the computer right now. Oh no.
All right, we've Google searched this fine cover here. Does that ring a bell?
I don't know if his outfit rings a bell, but yeah, the logo Sinbad Shazam.
So here's what's happening: is I'll bust your mind. This film does not exist
What?
at all. And I feel like what your mind is feeling as we show you this fantastic job of Photoshop is you're realizing that face, that getup, that logo, there's familiarity there, but it does not. Once you see it all together, it does not click because you know that it doesn't exist. What does exist is a film starring Shaquille O'Neal as a genie named Kazam.
Oh.
And I feel like
Why did my brain think that Sinbad was a genie?
I don't know. It's very interesting how this one's come to be, because I kind of watched this one evolve over the course of time. I remember seeing Kazam as a kid, but I couldn't at the age of 12 conjure that out of my memory and be like, yep, that existed.
Yeah.
But I do
Steel. No, that's in my
now
memory.
that's a movie that exists.
Are you lying to me?
I don't know.
I feel like
What's real
one
now?
of these I might get betrayed by my very own in one of these.
You think
Just
so?
like the main character was betrayed in Backdraft.
Oh man. Yeah, so like
That one was a stretch.
it was a bit of a stretch.
He was betrayed by his very own. It wasn't another fellow firefighter.
No, I know. I know the plot. I'm just
But I
saying
feel
that-
like you guys are
the
gonna-
usage of the example was a bit of a stretch.
I feel like you guys are gonna betray me with one of these.
One of these examples is going to be a misdirect, you
It's gonna
think?
be a misdirect.
It's going to be, I'm going to create a Mandela effect.
Yeah.
You think? Well, we'll see. Now, when it comes to this, I remember watching people online freak out about this. And I think that the reason why this has so much momentum is because a lot of people actually did actively forget about Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal.
Because it was that bad of a film.
Yes, we all kind of wrote it off. I remember it existed. I remember watching it.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about it. And the font, and I think the cover is actually very similar to a lot of the Photoshop jobs that you'll see around this imaginary
Crazy.
Sinbad film. But Sinbad himself claims that he had never been a genie in a film or a movie or anything like that. And so it is completely contrived and created. But yeah, when people started coming forward and being like, yeah, I think what you're thinking of is Kazam, that's when I way long ago went, oh, that makes more sense. But there was a moment of time that I vividly recall where people were like, what is this movie? Well, I can't find it anywhere. And they had no bearing. They had nothing to connect it to. They couldn't even remember
Yeah.
Kazam. They just knew it as Shazam. And
The thing too is when I saw I have an outfit pictured in my mind, and then when you showed me the picture, I'm like, that's not the outfit.
do you want to pull up Kazam? That one will make way
Yeah.
more sense.
Oh my god, am I gonna remember the outfit?
I think you might.
But then it was on Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Kazam is just like
I mean, they don't even look at all either.
title.
It's just oh, well, that's not the cover, but that is the character.
cover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Just because
I do remember
that way you
character.
see
That's
the
not how-
Photoshop compared to the
Yeah.
real deal,
There's the cover.
There you go.
I do
See, his
remember
name's
Kazam.
big. The font is similar. He's coming out of the
Damn.
lamp,
I've seen that at Blockbuster.
Yeah. Wasn't there an Aaron Carter song about with Shaq?
Yeah. Was it Shaq?
Was it Shaq?
Oh god, I don't want to misremember. Shaq or is it Iverson? No.
That's how I beat Shaq.
That's how I
Sung
beat
by
Shaq.
Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
There was about the Sinbad. Is this an outfit that you recognize?
Yes.
This was
Whoa.
in 1994. Sinbad hosted on TNT a marathon of the Sinbad the Sailor movies, And so he dressed up in that outfit. for
Okay,
that.
and so there's a little bit of crossover between his like swashbuckling sailor
It
outfit
does look like a
and
genie,
the genie outfit that he was. Okay, so maybe that's the seedling to the idea. But yeah, that one's definitely popular for sure. I'm sure a lot of people at home are recognizing that one. But here's another one that's going to cut back to our childhoods a bit. The Monopoly Man. Now, before I go any further, I want to get hands-on again. Task Force, would love to hear your off-the-cuff description of this man. I'll start you off just to get you started. You know he's got a top hat
Yeah, and a mustache.
and a mustache.
No monocle.
Ooh,
Cane.
okay.
And a black and white suit.
Okie doke.
Tux.
So here we go. I've got
Bow-
two images
bow tie.
of the Monopoly Man.
The Oh, shh.
Now, it's interesting that you said cane. There's no cane in either of these. You've got your own personal Mandela effect happening, I think. But what you will notice between...
I'm just saying there was no cane.
Dude,
in case I was expecting you to show me a picture with the cane.
I'm just expecting now, like, to show you a photo that's two of the same image and go, spot the difference.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Pam Beasley from The Office. These are the same
This
photo.
is the same photo.
So one here on the left for the audience listening at home, the left one has no monocle. The one on the right has a monocle. Now, you specifically pointed out no monocle, which makes me think that you've heard of this Mandela effect or this particular topic before. But seeing them, what are you feeling?
I haven't.
Okay.
And when you brought it up, my mind instantly jumped to he doesn't have a monocle.
Uh-huh.
Right? Actually looking at it, the monocle looks correct.
Okay. And that's really important because I think it's going to come out in one of the theories a little bit. Because I think if nothing else, we've kind of established a little bit of a through thread where it's either misremembering something or in this case, the monocle fits the image.
Yeah.
The very cliche image
But
of...
in my mind, I was like, no monocle.
Exactly.
And then you showed me that and I went,
let me ask you, because I'm
looks right.
really curious. And before we get to the answer, like,
okay.
what made you identify no monocle? When you're describing something, like if I were describing you, I wouldn't say no glasses.
That's just what my gut said. I don't.
There's just something in your brain that kind of came forward.
You said that, and in my mind, I was like, yeah, it's the Monopoly guy, doesn't have a monocle.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as you showed me that, I went, it looks correct.
Like if I said describe this ear of corn, would you say not orange?
Ear.
You know what I mean? It's just I just find it fascinating. I'm just kind of like I don't know. I'm digging in because
it was like my mind remembers there not being a monocle. And then when I look at like the monocle and how it has, the string hanging down, that looks correct.
It fits the image, but a lot of people, that's why I was so fascinated that you identified no monocle. I'm not trying to give you shit or anything because he doesn't have a monocle. You were absolutely correct all the way down to the cane, in which point there might be images with him having a cane.
He does have a cane.
He does?
He does?
In this particular image, he doesn't. So I was just goofing. But no, it all comes down to the monocle, which is why I wanted to dig into that before you knew the answer. Because a lot of people do picture this man, this Monopoly guy, with a monocle.
It looks right when I'm looking at an actual photo.
100%.
I would go, it's weird. It's very weird because like...
It's like that uncanny valley thing where you're like...
The right side, as I'm looking at it, the right side looks correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why I'm being pulled to the left side as my answer.
Well, that's this one here, the left side, no monocle. That's correct.
Because it's the correct one. So that's why I'm being pulled to there.
Yeah.
But the right side looks...
But it looks
like it's supposed
correct.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last one, before we go into some real world historical examples, kind of like Nelson Mandela himself, we're going to hop out of pop culture. The last one I want to talk about is I was taking my morning twos, and this one shook me silly.
As one does.
It doubled my time on the pot if I were to speak
I would think
bluntly.
it would help you.
No.
If it shook
It
you.
froze me up solid.
Oh. No, you don't want that. You don't want
Christian's
that.
like, what? So this one is very interesting because I had never heard this one. So let's go into it. It revolves around emojis. We all generally know the emojis we have on our iPhones and Androids and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
Now, there are two in particular that people seem to remember that apparently never existed. That is...
I know the eggplant emoji exists.
You know that. You
know.
use that daily.
And the splash.
Yup.
And then there's also there's a leg emoji now.
There is a leg emoji. Yeah, absolutely there is. There seems to be an emoji for everything, which only exacerbates this in my mind.
Okay.
Now, there are two emojis, and one of which I don't really see it, but the other one I'm like, what? That didn't exist? That's the robber and a hiker. Many people search for these emotes claiming to remember that there was a hiker and also a robber emoji, but there's literally no trace of these ever having existed. Now, the problem I'm facing is I don't picture the robber, so I don't, that's fine.
I do picture the money bag.
Oh, yeah, there is a money bag for sure.
Okay.
And we have on our notes, we have the Monopoly man running away with a money bag right above this, so that's not helping. But the hiker, though, we have swimmers, we have tennis players, we have all these active sports. I can vividly sit there and say, I can see a hiker with a walking stick climbing up like a slanted, going up to the left kind of, like they're going up a stair. And I see them with a stick like this and a backpack on.
Yeah. And like a red jacket, I think.
I don't know what color it would be because it's too small to pay attention to those details. But truly, I'd never heard of this. And I'm sitting there on the pot. I pull up the emoji keyboard and I type in hike. I type in hiker. The only thing I get is like a boot, right? There is a boot emoji.
So the hiker emoji doesn't exist?
Doesn't exist. And that freaked me out. I mean, I know that there's a visually impaired person. They have a walking stick for the sake of they have all sorts of emojis for every sake and occasion. And so maybe that's what my brain is getting hit up with. But I vividly remember this being something even prior to that one coming online. And what's kind of weird is that it seems so natural that one should exist because every other sport, every other outdoor activity is represented. You have biking, you have walking, dancing, whatever, but no hiking, no mountaineering.
It's not a sport, though. You're just walking in the woods. I was kidding. It totally is.
I'm a pro athlete. What do you do? I walk up and down the streets. Yeah, I'm a mall walker.
Yeah, I'm mall walk. There's no emoji for that, though.
Dude, there needs to be a mall walk emoji.
Just like a casual, brisk
Grandma Collins was out there making those motions, wearing her Skechers.
It's always the Skechers. It's always.
You know?
Yeah, no, I kind of remember like a red jacket and then the stick.
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to figure it out. Like, there's definitely the visually impaired, walking stick, kind of walking cane. That I know that exists. And so maybe, but that's a different orientation than my mind is picturing. I'm picturing it perfectly up and down. Yeah.
My mind was slanted.
Yeah. But Christian, before we move on to these historical and real life examples, any of these stand out to you, or any of these kind of like shake your reality a little bit as we were going through the research?
Oh, for me, I for some reason remember Curious George having a monkey. That was a big one for me.
Having a tail?
Or having a monkey?
Yeah, no, Curious George had a monkey.
The man in the yellow jacket has a monkey named George, and the monkey George has another monkey.
The monkey had a monkey.
Yeah.
The monkey had a baby monkey.
His name was Angry Allen. You don't see him much because they had to cut him out.
Right.
But
he was there.
I think that's why there's no tail. I think he popped George's tail off out of anger.
Oh, you see someone walk off screen.
You got to get those, first edition Curious George comics where Alan was in there. That's where the tail stems from. But
they wrote him out.
No, I'm with you on the tail.
Curious George, and then the Berenstain.
Absolutely.
That was a big one for me.
I still can't say Berenstain. It's just
Berenstain.
Doesn't feel right.
Bearstein Bears.
It's Berenstain.
Go ahead and retroactively.
Yeah, you know what? Like whoever.
Berenstain.
Philip Berenstain. I'm sorry, we're taking your name back, and it's
we're just gonna
Berenstain.
Jumble it up.
Jumble it up. But okay, so those ones to me were a little bit, as far as the pop culture ones go, were a little bit more unsettling. But now this is where it gets much more interesting, because we start to mess with real life and some much more vivid memories. So the first example we're going to talk about is Doveland, Wisconsin. In one case of the Mandela effect, Reddit users have discovered that there is a town that no longer exists, or supposedly. Users remember a town called Doveland, Wisconsin, and claim to have even visited and purchased souvenirs from the city, but it seems that the city has disappeared as recently as the 90s, because let me clarify. It didn't disappear like Thanos snap. It disappeared as far as people and their memories of this town go back to the 90s, but there's nothing any more recent than that. That's where people's memories kind of fade out on Doveland. And so something either happened in real life to this town, this supposed town.
Do they actually have those souvenirs?
That's a good question. That's something I feel like should be dug into. But
that'd be weird if I have this souvenir from this town and it doesn't exist.
Right. Like if you had a coffee mug that said Doveland, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But at this point now, I'm sure we
got the doves.
We got the doves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe they just remembered going there on a family trip and they remember getting a shirt. I remember reading about some anecdotal evidence, right? People were like, yeah, I had a shirt that said Dublin across the front, and but I don't have it anymore, right? Conveniently. So it's a lot of people kind of talking about their memories as recently as the 90s, but there are no memories after that. So that's where people are led to either imply that this town disappeared or something happened. Again, this is where the theories will come in and try to explain what's going on. But apparently, you know, when people looked into it, there's no accident, there's no weather, there's no catastrophic event ending a town overnight that this could be attributed to. But the town only seems to exist in memories of people who claim to have visited, and it doesn't exist on any maps or have an online presence or online footprint in any way. Even, you know, if you go to Google, they tend to finish your search results for you. So what complicates this matter is that the search term Dublin, Wisconsin is a very common suggestion made by Google when you start typing in these words, which...
Was it just because so many people have searched it?
It's probably because people have searched it, but many people consider this some sort of digital ghost trace, that it's evidence that substantiates that a piece of our reality was somehow tweaked, changed, or modified, and that our memories, in addition to maybe Google's memories by the way of suggestion, is evidence of the reality shift. And we'll, you know, like I keep referencing the theories, but this is just one of those ones where the theories are going to attempt their best to kind of break this all down.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about that is that, you know, if there was actually like that evidence of like, hey, I visited this place and here's my shirt or here's my mug. I don't know how you get a bunch of people like that is a little weird. You get a bunch of people that are saying that this town existed and they're all on the same page in terms of like the name, you know?
You know what I would love to do, and I think it would be worthwhile, is for all these folks, and maybe it's too late now, but for all the folks that have what amounts to an authentic story regarding Dublin, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I would love to ask them where on the map they think Dublin is or was privately, and then also weigh that location with a confidence from 0 to 10. And then do that over and over and over and see what kind of heat map you end up with. Because what would be really weird is if they all confidently nailed a certain spot on the map. Because then there's something even more concrete to look at. What I would imagine would happen if you put on your reality cap and want to be cynical is you would probably see what amounts to a random spread across the state with confidence waning from 0 to 10.
Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, also, if they did purchase things or rented cars to go there, like, that's traceable. You could pick that up, and I mean, you can dig through your statements and account to kind of spot that. Because, I mean, if you're taking a trip somewhere, you're gonna eat, you're gonna spend money, you're gonna exist in that space and leave a trail.
Yeah, it's interesting because like this is one of the first times I've heard of the Mandela effect affecting what would amount to an entire city or town, a place where people pay taxes, elect mayors, live, and have kids and travel to. So it's definitely very interesting that this one hasn't just been outright debunked. The next one is definitely going to be something you recognize, and I'm not going to dive into the politics behind it, but Tank Man, or a man that's otherwise referred to as Tank Man.
The hell?
Yeah, so going back, you'll recognize. Going back to, or I should say, during the Tiananmen Square protests, one person famously stood facing a moving tank and was thereby dubbed or nicknamed Tank Man. It's a very iconic photo of a man.
Standing for the
You know, there's a lot baked into this topic, so you know, I'm staying light here. Similar to the namesake of the Mandela effect, many people remember or even claim to have remembered or seen this Tank Man being killed during or after the protest. We have a lot of different, you know, anecdotal pieces of evidence coming forward. Some people are saying it was during, some people said it was after, but a lot of witnesses nonetheless coming forward and saying that man passed away at that event. Neither of those situations happened. Neither during nor after the event did Tank Man pass away. And so it's just one of those instances of a very popular, very well-known, I should say, maybe infamous photo that's made its rounds around the world in history books, but has underneath it a bit of some oddity, some just, it's just, I don't know how to describe it, just this weird sense of misremembering.
Yeah, I feel like with I think that just spurts from conversation, right? You're looking at that with like a friend, or maybe you're showing someone, and you go, "Oh man, like that's such a crazy photo. Like, did that person like make it out of there?" And just go, I don't think they did. You know what I mean? You kind of lean towards the more like, unfortunately, more morbid.
It gets conflated.
Dare I say, like, shock value answer.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that we've really picked up on between all of these examples so far is that there tends to be a conflation between neighboring events, whether it's Kazam, Shazam, or other events happening around this particular protest and this individual in particular. Monkeys having a tail, rich men having a monocle, all of that. I think that there's that natural conflation because when we remember stuff, we remember in chunks. We don't remember everything down to a detail. We don't remember things in binary. We remember things in broad strokes. And I think that is really what we're starting to identify here.
I want to Mandela effect the shit out of my girlfriend, Jackie.
That seems entirely possible.
I feel like...
Let's build this from the ground up.
I feel like we say that we took a trip to, like, I don't know, Alaska or something like that, right? And she goes, "No, we didn't take that trip. I'm talking like top of the line Photoshop, okay? Picture.
Yes.
Pictures of us.
Full album.
Right? Exactly. Full album, it's there. She goes to her closet, she's got that winter coat. She's got the shoes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You got the receipts.
And fake
from May
receipts.
1st, 2018.
Exactly.
She's like,
fake
whoa.
receipts. Here's the thing. This is the long con. No.
I'm with you.
Here's the long con.
Yes.
And it makes it expensive, but damn hilarious. I actually book and pay for a trip to Alaska, and we just don't do it. And then on top of that, I Photoshop everything else. So we have the tickets. It's in the bank account. Like, I have like a souvenir shipped.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think you take the trip by yourself and then you sleep on it for 5 years. And then you have, in that 5 years, Photoshop. You've posed around icebergs with your arm around nothing.
Yeah.
And you get the lighting, you get the look, and then you spend all that time Photoshopping meticulously, pixel by pixel, Jackie into all these photos. And then 5 years on, you're like,
love this.
"Oh, you remember that trip?" And she'll be like, "No, what?"
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Yeah, you slipped and fell."
Oh my God.
Like you make up all sorts of details that happened.
Holy
Slipped on the ice.
hell.
Took a photo with a penguin that didn't exist
Dude,
there.
there's got to be a paid actor that could play a doctor. I'll rent down an office.
It's like Jim Halpert when he was replaced by an actor in The Office.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Dang.
It would.
I feel like
it would get Jackie.
I feel like 100%. I feel like you could go like way less in depth with it too. You could be like,
like
totally
there
was a Gen 1 alt art of Pikachu that like you're hunting for. Like obviously, with the new Pokemon
stuff,
pack coming out, you got some of the reprisals of the original. Yeah. So like we all know what the Pikachu, like the thicked up Pikachu looking good out there, cute as can be.
The OG.
Yeah. And he's got a little tiny surfboard. Now you got to come up with one that like it pulls on a couple threads that she would recognize, but like
it's a fake card.
But it's a fake card, and you work with Meg, Turney, work with Gab. You work with everybody to build this narrative.
I put it in a pack.
No, you don't put it in a pack yet.
Okay.
You gotta say that's what you're hunting for.
That is what we're hunting for.
And then you got to get her to be saying like that's what I'm looking for.
That's the card.
Yeah.
And then I mean, like if I show her like a fake Google page that's Photoshop, she's not gonna scroll on it or question it. And then I was like, boom, here's the blown up photo. Jack's like, I need to hunt that card. I need to get that card. Eventually leads to her pulling said card.
Yeah. Whoa, I got it. The win.
And it's a fake.
The points
card.
come down the line when she invariably tweets on her own volition. That's
my
the card
God.
she's looking for. She'll be like, has anyone seen this card? And then task force, you got to be out there to yes and just be like, absolutely. How dare you?
I just pulled one from Target.
Listen, I can hear you thinking about it, Ted from Wisconsin. You know you're going to try to tell. You're eating your cheese curds. You're saying, I'm going to tell Jackie.
Don't
Theodore,
tell Jackie
sit down.
Anything.
Enjoy your cheese curds. I'm jealous of you right now. Watch the Packers and stop it.
Watch the Packers.
Put on the sport
What?
and stop it.
There's a lot of good ideas.
There's something there. There is something there. There is something there. All right. This next one's very interesting because we did a whole episode. We did a two-parter episode on this one because there's so much interesting detail.
I actually want to say before you move on from
How
Tank
dare
Man,
you.
I apologize.
No, please.
Before you move on from Tank Man, so I pulled up the image just in case you hadn't seen it, Alfredo.
Oh,
in case
yeah.
you wanted to see it. In your guys' memory of the Tank Man photo, what is the Tank Man doing? Is he
Just standing looking at it.
I think he's standing with
from
his
the back.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I could sketch it out, but it's like he's looking up and to the right, like because it's like an angled down photo. The tank is coming down to the left. He's looking up to the right, and I think he's holding his arms down to the side. He might be holding 2 plastic bags on either
Okay.
side. That's
Okay.
what I'm remembering.
See, for some reason, in my memory, I remember him standing with his hand out. With
Oh,
one
to say,
hand
like,
out against
stop.
the tank. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it a shot from the back?
I think
It
there-
is from the back.
I
Yeah.
remember it from the back.
Yeah. I think
So-
there's a video, and he might actually at some point put his hand out.
Is
To
he,
your
like-
credit,
This is the photo.
Okay, no, he
And
does have a bag.
You two were correct. Yeah, he's just standing there, arms at his side, holding a bag.
yeah,
But for some reason, in my mind, yeah, I remember him holding a hand out
He
like,
might.
stop.
Like
You might.
Magneto.
and that's why they stopped. Oh my God, it's Magneto.
Oh my god. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very hard to find footage of that event, right? And
Yes,
and
like
you
news
might
footage.
you might be remembering something from in that because obviously this
Or-
is a still from a
Yeah.
moment in time. There,
Or-
it very is possible.
Or the X-Men.
Or Magneto was there. All right. Well, howdy, everybody. This is Trevor. As always, just talking right to you. Or is it me? Maybe it hasn't been me since the beginning. Maybe this is Alfredo, and this is some sort of weird knockoff Mandela effect situation happening. I don't know. I certainly sounded confused when I started speaking, but that's because I don't plan anything. I just kind of talk and hope for the best. That being said, why don't we take a leap of faith into some housekeeping notes around Red Web? We have merch. If you want to support our show directly, you can do so at store.roosterteeth.com. Search yourself up some Red Web Task Force materials. We got a trickling still around of our long sleeve shirt, the hat, maybe the pin if you're lucky. The thing keeps selling out. I really love you all, but also we need to keep it in stock a little bit sometimes. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice, Task Force. I love you. Anyway, we also have the Halloween special coming up next week. I'm so excited about it. It is now in the can officially. As of me recording this ad, we don't record the ads live. It's weird. It's a thing. But I'm a time traveler, and I've already done the thing now. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It's the first of hopefully many, but special one-off holiday specials where we do live action in addition to our audio experience because we are an audio first podcast. But this particular episode, I hope you enjoy it. Just a little tease. We do a bit of a ghost hunt. Is that a tease or is that just spilling the beans? Christian's not here to stop me, so let's spill the beans. It was awesome. So please let us know what you think. Check it out next Monday, October 25th. 2021. If you're in the future, come back down to us. youtube.com/redwebpod or on the Rooster Teeth app and website. Obviously, that app is available anywhere you can get apps, but those are 2 different ways that you can see the visual component. I don't think we have Spotify video yet, but when we do, I'll ping John Spotify and I'll say, give me the video. I've got something to upload. But that being said, there are other ways to support this show. You might have heard in previous weeks, we have a premium RSS feed for our first members. It's only about $6 a month. If you want to support us and what we do 100% and directly, that is a way to do that. You also get this show 24 hours early, in addition to having 0 ads. So you won't get to hear my lovely voice talk to you directly like this, perhaps, but who doesn't love a little bit of ad-free experience? So anyway, that's just another way to support the show. Wanted to give it a shout out. And thank you all who have joined the premium RSS feed thus far. We see you. And you have made our show look so good next to all of our other podcasts. Self-high five. Excellent. I heard all of you around the world. Anyway, with that said, I want to talk about one of our fantastic sponsors for this week. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by The Jordan Harbinger Show. You're clearly a fan of high-quality, fascinating podcasts hosted by wink, wink, nudge, nudge, interesting people. And since you like Red Web, I'm just going to stop beating around the bush. Amazing show, right? You should really check out another show entitled The Jordan Harbinger Show. The Jordan Harbinger Show is a podcast that covers a wide range of fascinating topics through weekly interviews with heavy-hitting guests that reveal the workings behind so much that goes on in our world. For instance, there was an episode recently where Jordan interviewed CoffeeZilla, who is a YouTuber who I have watched many a time. He has a lot of awesome videos. Shout out to him. But he is a YouTuber who exposes gurus, scammers, but he's also talked to people like Renee DiResta, who studies what turns ordinary people into conspiracy theorists, which I think is right up the red web alley. There's an episode for everybody, no matter what you're into, so we recommend you listen to this show. We think you're going to enjoy it. There's just so much to listen to here, so check out jordanharbinger.com/start for some episode recommendations, or search for The Jordan Harbinger Show by spelling it with HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. And with that said, let's dive back into this wibbly wobbly mystery at hand. This next one is very interesting because we actually did a 2-part episode on this one because there was just so much information on it. And it's the Lindbergh baby. Famous aviator Charles Lindbergh's infant son was kidnapped on March 1st of 1932, and it obviously got lots of news coverage. Charles Lindbergh was a very famous person at the time.
He was the one
celebrity.
that like was super involved with the investigation,
yes,
wasn't
he basically took charge of it.
Yeah. And I went, why?
Right. Conflict of interest out the wazoo. I mean, to those who haven't listened to the episodes, I encourage you to do so. Very fascinating. I think it's a very popular case that everyone's heard about, but there's so many details that are interesting in there. And yeah, him being involved was not simply because he was a parent. There's other things that we talked about. And so it sounds obvious, like, of course he wants to help out with his kid. Not that way. But anyway, the Lindbergh baby's body was found months later that same year. But there are many people on the original Mandela Effect forum that claim that the baby was never found, which is very interesting because the child was kidnapped, went missing. There was a lot of ransom notes, and it did take quite some time. And the body was stumbled upon by a trucker who happened to go walking through the woods at that time, that place. And so, yes, I can definitely see why some people would come out of that event having gone, they definitely never found the child because it was very much looking like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that this was a Mandela Effect.
I had no
example.
idea.
Yeah. Wild.
And I'll never see that side of it just because, my first exposure to that was proper. The body was found.
Right.
I don't think I'll sit here 10 years later going, I wasn't.
Well, maybe. We'll come back. What we'll do is we'll do a Red Web Senior. When we're seniors and we're all senile and we just got to remember what the mystery was. And we'll come back through it and be like, you remember
what was
Lindbergh?
that hairy guy again?
His name was Chuck.
Bob,
Chuck Lazenberg.
Bob something.
He was a famous boatman.
Bob Squatch. That's what it was.
Yes, the Baba Squatch.
Remember
he had those tiny feet.
We couldn't get Christian to shut up about 90s movies.
God, he ran his mouth left and right.
Always talking about this and
films.
that. Big fan of Steven Seagal.
I told him, read a book, kid. Anyway.
Favorite movie was Time Cop.
I remember his favorite film, Disney Channel's Brink.
Yeah.
Oh, he loved that. And Cadet Kelly. Remember that film?
And he hated that kid in Blank Check.
He hated it. He said, follow your morals, kid. Return the check.
How dare you?
How dare you
Forgery.
use computer for forgery?
Everyone's going to remember this about Christian now.
Yeah, what we're going to do is build our own
planted
Mandela
the
effect. We're going to make a
seeds.
Christian effect. We build this whole separate entity. All right, the last example in the real world is actually a lot more mundane than the rest, but it is interesting because I hadn't heard this one. So, you drive cars. You're a petrol head, as it were. You love cars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have a left side mirror, your driver's side,
Okay.
and you have your right side mirror, your passenger side, or at least in America. Now, there's some writing on the right hand, the passenger side mirror. For everyone else, left-hand side. Now, what is that writing underneath?
Objects in the mirror closer than they appear.
Yes, more or less.
Yeah.
Now, there's a very subtle shift in the phrasing that we're going to talk about here. Now, and I don't want to lead you too much, so I want to give you an opportunity to come up with the word. So, objects in mirror blank be closer than they appear.
Appear to be closer. Wait, no. No.
Yes. Objects in mirror appear be closer than they appear.
Objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear.
Nailed it. I'm so happy you said that because that is what I would have put as well. Now, logically speaking, that doesn't make any sense because mirrors aren't 50-50 on what they're going to show you.
Yeah.
Physics is pretty set in stone.
Yeah. Wait,
But
are you taking notes? Why are you taking notes?
he's been tippity-tap.
I've been taking notes since weeks ago. Like
I know.
every episode,
It's
I take
usually
notes.
when I flub
I know.
words. It's usually when I go tap.
I know.
What do you think I'm doing on the laptop the entire time we're recording?
He's writing down all your movie references to be like, I need to watch that one.
I need to watch that
one.
one. With that.
So
Time cop.
a lot of people remember. A lot of people remember this as objects in mirror may be closer than they appear. However, and again, I know this is mundane, but it is a piece of reality that is shifted. It is objects in mirror are closer than they appear. They're not opening themselves to some liability by saying maybe they're closer.
Why did I think that?
I don't know, but that is where we're on the precipice of theories now. This is where I think pop culture has cycled back in on itself.
Was it Jurassic Park?
Might have been. Must go faster.
Yeah. In the iconic chase scene.
Where he says that T-Rex
T-Rex
may be closer than I see it being close. Wait.
Yep. Maybe closer than I see it being close.
Yeah. I
Wait, is
remember
that-
that? Jeff Goldblum was like, hey, is that a T-Rex there? Because it may be there. Or maybe not. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm being facetious, but what
No, I just
Hit me with it.
they look at the T-Rex from the rearview mirror. I'm
There
wondering.
isn't- wasn't that in the rearview mirror on the windscreen though? Not the side mirror.
Oh God, am I misremembering that?
Well, that's just misremembering. Oh, hey, folks at home going through tests, SATs, finals, all that sort of stuff. You get an F, get all your answers wrong. Just say it was the Mandela effect. You just remembered it differently.
Yeah.
You don't remember it wrong. You remembered it differently.
See if that sticks.
It'll work. Maybe.
It will.
Well, no, Professor, I remember this working when I told you last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's it makes sense because like it
It makes complete sense.
Like, objects
may.
like consistently appear in the same way, right? If they're 5 feet away, 10 feet away, they're going to consistently. I mean, there's a warping on the lens, and that's why the message is there.
I think that.
I found the scene from Jurassic Park.
Oh my
it
goodness,
is in the
golly
driver's
gosh.
side mirror, and it says "are closer than they appear."
Closer.
First of all, nailed it. Brilliant mind. You had it. I was on the wrong mirror. Secondly, that looks like the driver's side.
Yes, it is.
So this is a left side of the road car because the
No,
wheel was certainly
'cause
on the
it's-
left.
Here, I'll show you this shot right before. They're driving
Yeah.
away.
So the warning is on the driver's
The driver
side
looks
mirror?
at his mirror.
Mhm.
That's not right. Is it?
Yeah. Is it not on both mirrors?
It's on the right one only.
I thought it was on both.
What?
Is it not on both?
Are you serious?
All right, I want to run out to my car.
I need to go out to my
I'm going to a
now.
car. I'm going to a car.
No, if anything, it's
Out of my way. I'm going to a car.
If anything, it's on the driver's side, right?
Oh, there's so much stuff falling over.
Trevor is running out of the building to his car right now.
Okay, I found what Wikipedia says. I'll save it until Trevor's back.
Okay. But Christian, what is your problem with me in 90s movies?
I don't have a problem, Alfred. I don't have a problem
ridiculous.
at all.
It's ridiculous.
Like I said, I just I appreciate them. I think it's impressive.
did it. I did it.
Is it on both?
All right. Ran outside. Saw the first vehicle. I went up to it, made sure there's no one in it. So because I realized I'm sprinting at this person's car, looking into the windows. It is on the passenger side and not on the driver's side. And that's how I remember it. Because when I was a kid, the reason why this sticks out is sat on the passenger side. I saw that label on the mirror, and I was asking my mom why it was there, whatever. And that's when I distinctly remember her saying, "No, it's only on that one." I was like, "That's weird. I hate the asymmetry of that."
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Damn.
looked up while you were gone. I looked up the phrase, and yeah, it is a warning that is required to be engraved on a passenger side mirror of a vehicle.
Now, the physics understanding of my brain says it's probably got a bit of warping to it. I don't know if it's convex or concave, but I imagine it's bent in some way to help you get a little fisheye, so that way it can properly see out a window that's farther away, but also reflect it to the driver's side eyes. But you don't need that on the left side because that's much more of a linear bounce.
Yeah. Damn. So Muldoon, right? I think that's the character's name, Muldoon.
Mm-hmm.
His car.
Clever girl.
His car is all weird like.
Yeah. Those
On the
Jurassic.
left side.
So that's to say, anybody at home making their Jeep look a hundo P accurate to the movies,
You
better
gotta-
get that message custom inscribed on the
got
driver's
to.
side. Let's move into the theories because boy, have I been burying this lead.
Okay.
Now, as fun as the examples of the Mandela effect are, and they really are, there's so many different examples. We want to hear from you, Task Force, if there's others that we haven't covered, because I love my reality being stirred up a little bit. The theories are just as fascinating, if not more so. So let's, without further ado, dive in.
Okay.
The theories attempting to explain this, the first one we're going to talk about is alternate reality. Now, one thing I want to do a little bit of like putting you in the mindset, because when I uncovered a lot of these different examples of the Mandela effect over the course of my life and childhood, the idea of an alternate reality was definitely more strange than it is now. Pop culture has really opened up the gates on what alternate reality is. I mean, you look at the MCU. It's all over it. So we have a bit more of a concrete understanding of what that could look and feel like. We have a better understanding of what that is. But as a kid, I'm just like, whoa, that's mind-bending. So this is one of the prevailing theories for the Mandela effect. And it states that the Mandela effect is simply proof that there are alternate realities out there. These are parallel universes that exist at the same time as ours. And in these other universes or realities, histories and laws of nature can be unlike that of anything we could ever imagine. They could be subtle shifts, a la Marvel's What If, right? Where one thing changes and you have a butterfly effect. Or they could be dramatically different. They could be so different that they could be unstable and instantly disappear because the laws of physics aren't balanced. But with infinite universes, there would be some that have only slightly different histories to our own, where barely anything changes.
So then would that mean that the object itself is existing in our time from a alternate universe, but only existing to said person and existing every time their eyes are on it? Hence, like
it changes when you see it, like Schrodinger's monocle on the Monopoly guy.
Yeah.
That's definitely one angle to consider it. A lot of people that look at this, have the perspectives that our memories are the true history keepers, right? That when we remember something, it's true. And that at some point, our consciousness moved into this present universe from another. Now, that could be because, we can get really crazy here and say it's because you passed away at some point, because that universe collapsed, because of some interaction between two bubble universes colliding. In some way, you and a bunch of other people who remember the monocle, let's just say, your consciousness was swapped over to this body because it's otherwise, for all intents and purposes, the exact same reality, just minus a couple shifts. And so therefore, you are remembering something that actually happened,
but then you were
from
shifted.
a different reality. But you were shifted into a universe that was slightly different. So, for example...
But then what happens to the consciousness that was in the universe where you shifted into?
I would imagine they combined. Or, I don't know. This is all completely